Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Tamika Santos and Samantha Tangco. So they are known as, how will I say it? Tam and Sam, Sam and Tam. Ang cute na mga names nyo. Hi, girls! Hi!
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Sige, one at a time so that our audience can really get to know you. Ano? Let's start with Tam. Tam, say hi to our audience and a little bit about yourself, siguro.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm Tamika Santos, but you can call me Tam. I'm currently 24 years old. I graduated from Ateneo in 2019 with a degree in management engineering. So today, I am the proud CEO of Hatches Group of Companies. And as a CEO, I spend my days in and out of strategy and management meetings, planning for the next 1, 3, or 5 years, and ensuring the overall delivery of the business and all of our subsidiaries. And here with me is
Okay.
Sam.
Hi everyone. My name is Sam. I'm also 24 like Tam, and like her also I graduated from Ateneo but with a degree in BS IT and entrepreneurship. So right now I'm currently Hatch's Group of Companies COO or Chief Operating Officer, and my job is really to lead our shared services. So from the day to day, I take care of sales, answering inquiries. I take care of HR tasks also. And really, one of my main roles is managing the financials of the company. So I make sure our cash flows are okay, our bank accounts are running smoothly. So aside from just us two, we actually have 5 partners, which I'll introduce a bit later.
Kwentuhan nyo kami, what is Hatch Solutions?
As you mentioned, so Hatch is an anything, everything corporate solutions agency. So we take pride in being an ultra-modern, service-obsessed, end-to-end corporate solutions agency. So I know it sounds like a lot of fluff. So what does that mean? Basically, companies, corporations, SMEs, and multinationals alike can come to us, and we are their one-stop shop for all of their marketing needs. So our services includes a long laundry list of things that we can do, including PR, events, customization, media production, digital, and also social media and e-commerce. So it's a lot, but so that's why we call ourselves an anything, everything agency.
Anything and everything. Parang kayo na, 'di ba? What can these pretty girls do for me?
For example, you're starting your own business. And usually when you're starting your own business, parang hindi mo naman kayang gawin lahat from the start. Especially because mahirap talaga like to build a brand, to find influencers, ganon. So for small businesses, what we do is we help you create your brand, we help you create your packaging, we help you create your overall like social media pages, your strategies, your PR, no, so that it can really help you launch your brand into success.
Okay, so kayo yung tumutulong to launch a brand, to make it known, to help them with the script siguro, to make it really disseminated to the right right people so that they can reach their market. Can you give us a background of yourselves? Kasi this is money lessons with FQMom nga, no? Can you share your respective childhood money memory? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I guess I can start with that. So me, I grew up in a Chinese family full of entrepreneurs. So money and business.
Pure Chinese?
Yeah, pure
Sam?
Chinese.
Okay.
So every time we have family gatherings or even over dinner, the topic is always money. It's always business. And when I look back at a lot of my childhood memories, it would be visiting my angkong in his office. And a lot of my weekends, I'd go with my mom to Divisoria, would buy stocks or inventory.
What was the business?
Oh, my mom
What
on the side before, she used to sell accessories online. So we'd really go to Divisoria and I'd help her pick accessories to sell.
Oh.
So I used to go with her a lot. And I guess that experience also, being super surrounded by all these business experience and being in an environment full of business people is what made me decide to pursue it as a career.
So talagang you from the very start, you were exposed already because your
Yeah.
parents, your lolo would talk about money na hindi yung hindi ganon. No?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no negative stigma when it came to discussing money.
Yeah. The norm for me was business. It wasn't corporate world. So it was only when I like
Uh-huh.
met other people and started talking to other people, I realized that business pala wasn't like a normal, wasn't the go-to job. It was like being in the corporate setting or like working for a big company.
Tam, what was your childhood money memory?
Yeah, I'm actually opposite of Sam. So parang I grew up with my parents or even like my relatives not really talking about money.
Hmm.
So
Pero
when
wait, are you also 100% Chinese?
no, I'm only 25%. Maybe similar to a lot of other people, no? We never really talked about money growing up, ever.
Mm-mm.
And my earliest money memory was when I started getting allowance na for school. Because
Okay.
parang daily allowance siya.
Hmm.
And I feel like, because I was very young pa noon, I was like grade 1 or grade 2. So around 6 or 7 years old. So of course, parang I didn't really understand the value of money then. And I would be very like, whatever I want to eat, that's what I'll buy. But so I learned early on, no? Kasi for example, I'll buy ice cream for recess, then wala na akong money for lunch, or yung ganun.
Oh
But
my God.
yeah, and the problem is, I was matakaw as a kid, so I always wanted to eat a lot.
Were you big? Were you cutie, chubby,
I was
chubby?
I was chubby, yeah, I had cheeks and everything. Pero so yun, so I remember one day when I went home, I looked at the toys that I had in my room. Then parang I had mga Christmas gifts that I never really liked. Or parang I felt like I wouldn't use. So I brought them to school the next day. Then I started selling them to my classmates. Um, but I think that kind of mindset, no, that not the reselling of gifts or the parang spending whatever money I have right away on food, but the attitude of like trying to find other resources or means in order to
Yes.
free to like eat or buy or do what I want. I think that's really the attitude that stuck with me from that very first childhood money memory I had. I think that was my first experience of money and of being a quote unquote entrepreneur, I guess, to a small extent.
Yeah. But after you graduated, you worked in a corporate ano, di ba?
Yes, yeah. So throughout college, I was interning in different companies. So I interned in Uber, in marketing also, and then I also interned in P&G. And then right after college, I continued my stint in P&G. So I was the brand manager for Joy dishwashing liquid and
Oh
Amicure.
yeah. How long
Yeah,
were you at PhD?
I was there for a year and 3 months. And then I left my job in P&G for Hatch.
So sige,
So it
kwento
was
nyo ngayon yung mga beginnings ng Hatch.
Tam and I, we were back in high school in ICA. We were both the prom committee and graduation ball committee heads of our batch. And because those events turned out super successful, all our friends started asking us to plan their debuts or their 18th birthday parties.
Oh
The
my
when
God. So how old were you? You were teenagers?
we were
Teenagers.
17.
oh, 17,
17.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can you just hold it there? Your junior prom, bale? So parang you
Yes,
were asked,
junior prom and senior
commit.
ball.
But I'm sure you
Yes.
didn't earn from that yet, di ba?
Yeah,
When
though.
did the, yeah, so syempre committee lang kayo, no?
Yeah.
When did the first earning activity happen? Was it still in high school or were you already in college then?
It was actually in between high school and
Yeah.
college. So we were planning the boo after the boo after the boo. And then Tam and I decided, why not turn this hobby into a business, which we called Sam and Tam events. Because we described, so it was cute. So
Yeah.
that's what we called it. But at the time, we didn't super take it very seriously. We were charging like 5,000 for like a 6-month long planning activity.
Okay.
My mom would always tell me, parang, you're charging too low. It's a waste of your time if you don't actually make money out of it. So I think it was really in college where we decided to take it a bit more seriously. And lucky enough, kasi Tam and I, we both went to Ateneo. So we were able to really keep it running.
Continue.
Yeah. And what was
Yeah.
cool about starting very young was the network that we were able to create and leverage on. So when we got into college, we got in as freshmen and then we met some seniors. And when those seniors started working in the corporate world, every time they needed cheap
Wow.
hires, they'd contact Sam and Tam. So that's how we started to pivot our business also from just personal events to corporate events then. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Ang galing. And siguro isingit ko dyan, ano, kaya naririnig ko rin yung mga pangalang Sam and Tam dito sa bahay. Because my son, Anton, was one of the ones that you hired while you were still in school. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I remember that pa. It was one of the first debuts that we did for for a good friend. And I think a few months before the event, our initial hosts actually backed out because they
Mm.
couldn't make it na. So Sam and I were like, shucks, who are we gonna ask to host the event? Because we didn't really know that many hosts yet. And then sakto, it was our ORSM had just finished, and Anton was actually one of the hosts.
So
Then I remember
you were freshmen pa lang.
we were
Yeah,
freshmen.
we attended
Freshman. So
conference.
si Anton was a sophomore and he was the ORSEM host.
Yeah,
Tama?
yeah.
Yes.
Then I remember
Okay.
telling Sam, I was like, Sam, parang Anton was good as a host. Why don't we try to ask him? And then I
Mm.
think that's actually one of the first events he hosted in. I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
sure.
his first
Oo.
job.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
after that, it
Na-paid.
came
Na-paid.
up. Yeah.
Kasi he had been hosting puro libre-libre. Tapos ito, yung sa inyo could probably be one of the first paid hosting jobs that he did.
Correct. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
very pivotal din pala kayo sa hosting career ni Anton, ano, di ba?
Yeah. So
Okay.
he's still actually one of our hosts in for like now for corporate events now. But
Yeah.
before he used to be one of our go-tos for all the debuts that we used to do. Yeah.
Oo. So, and then, yan, lumalaki na, no? Events. Tapos, may mga products na rin kayo eh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from events, no, we also did PR. And then after that, when the pandemic happened, kasi what happened was wala nang events.
That's
So
right.
so we were like, okay, how are we gonna pivot? And Sam was actually
Wait,
one of the
excuse Tam ha. When
Yes.
did the three other girls, kasi 5 po
Yes.
sila eh.
Uh,
5 pretty ladies yung mga yan eh. When did they come in? Was it
Yeah.
pre-pandemic? Tell us about that. The 5 of them, yan. So, nakikita nyo ba yan? So, you are on the, para bang third and fourth kayo, no? From the
Yes.
left, tama ba?
Sam
Okay,
is on the
sige.
middle. I'm right
And then
beside
Sam is
her.
right beside me. Yeah.
Sige, so kwento naman natin and I hope they're watching with us
Yeah.
yung ating mga 3 other pretty ladies. Tell us what they do and how they also joined your group.
Mhm. So from Sam and Tam events, we actually rebranded to STR events, and that's because we welcomed a third partner. Her name is Raina. So if you can see in the photo
Sino
where
siya dyan?
she's the second person from the left side.
Okay. That's
The one in
the
the white
no
dress.
the
Yeah,
one
the
in
one in
white
white
dress. Okay.
Yeah.
What's her
So we
name?
welcome Raina.
Reina. Hi, Reina. If you're there, say hi. Okay.
So we
Ano naman yung role?
we welcomed her because Tam went to JTA or her junior term abroad in Ateneo, and the business was doing pretty well. Every day
Oh my
was very
gosh.
busy, so we needed some extra hands. So Reina was there to join us and to help. So right
Okay,
now,
let me just tell the audience. At this point in time, they were still in school. They were still third year college. Pero
Yeah.
tuloy-tuloy na yung negosyo nila. So Tam had to go abroad for the junior term abroad. Where did you go?
I went to France.
France.
Okay, so you went. Si Anton din, France din yung pinuntahan niya. But he was, of course, a year ahead of you, no? So Sam, you had, you welcomed the entrance of Reina.
Yes, Reina. That's how we
Mm-mm.
That's how we went from Sam and Tam events to STR events.
All right. Okay.
So
And then,
right now, Reina, she is actually leading one of our agencies. So if Tam and I, if we're like the CEO and COO of the Hatch group of companies, Reina is the CEO of Hatch.
okay, and Hatch is focused on,
The end-to-end corporate solutions agency. Tam and I, we cover more of the top line things. So everything under the group, like we have a branding studio,
yes,
we have the talent
oh,
management.
ganyan. Okay.
We also have a gifting studio.
So that's one of the 3 girls. How did the 2 others come? Join naman.
So Robyn and Isa, they're actually also my childhood best friends. On the other side, Robyn, Isa, and I, we were actually tapped to do a Lazada campaign together. So Lazada actually asked us to help create one of the first parang wide-scale micro-influencer campaigns that they did. So we called ourselves Try. So obviously, di pa kami creative doon. So it was STR kasi Sam, Tam, and Reina. And it was Try kasi Tam, Robyn, Isa. But the reason why we decided to kind of merge no and come together was because actually 2020 na to. we noticed that companies were actually getting both agencies separately. They'd get SDR for the PR kits or the mga gift kits that the influencers receive. And then they'd get Try naman to be the one to contact the mga KOLs or influencers. What we thought of was, if we can come together, and form an anything everything end-to-end agency, then we will be able to really create more value and less headache for our clients. And because of that, Hatch was born. Yeah,
Wow, hatch was hatched.
Hatch was
So,
hatched.
so,
Yes.
so let me just say that, you were doing this during the pandemic. Can we just name the three girls again? Can you say those names?
So it's
Raina,
Raina,
yeah, Isa,
Robyn, and Isa.
Robyn, okay, and Isa.
Robin and Isa? Isa?
Yes,
Yes.
Isa.
Okay. All right. So now pandemic came. Actually, we just celebrated our second anniversary of the
Oh,
March 15 lockdown, 'di ba? And these girls, 'di ba, while everybody was losing their jobs, they came from four employees, correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
for
In
All
employees.
2020. And then now tell us, how many employees do you have?
We're 64 now in the company. And 2%. So 60 employees.
Diba? Diba? Ako, grabe, you talagang, you amaze me. I am so proud. I'm sure your moms, your dads are so proud of you. Imagine, nasa kaligitnaan tayo ng pandemya. Itong mga little girls ko, they are thriving from 4 employees. Now they are 64. Wow. Tell us about that. I mean, even middle-aged entrepreneurs, you got to listen to these young girls.
Yeah, I guess the pivot really started. So right when I graduated, I decided to pursue this as my full-time career. And just months after I graduated, suddenly nagka-lockdown. So I couldn't do events anymore. Like all my events were canceled. I didn't have a business. But lucky enough, one of the last events we did, which was for Johnson's baby, one of the key things we did for them were giveaway creation. So when the pandemic happened, they were looking for time to shift their budget into something else. So they decided to create PR kits instead. So since I was the last supplier they talked to, they're like, "Hey, SDR, can you create PR kits for us?" And of course, I pretended to know how to create PR kits because we didn't have income, we didn't have a business, and I had to make sure that we could survive the pandemic. So I learned how to coordinate with suppliers, how to create all these custom items. And I think that was really the starting point of creating all these services outside of events and really creating an end-to-end corporate solutions agency.
My gosh, you girls, kayo yung parang model ng that's how you pivot. Imagine, you just graduated in 2019 and then nawala yung main business mo, which is
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
But you are able to pivot to yung mga kits, kung ano-ano, no? And I also heard na parang kayo yung nagpasimuno nung use of micro-influencers. These girls, they came up with that idea na why not use not just one big influencer, but several micro-influencers. Sige, kwento natin.
This is actually the Lazada story, the one that started Try Public Relations. Actually, it's funny because si Lazada, they parang 11-11, 12-12, 10-10s, they were still not yet invented at that time. Because this was in 2018.
Okay. This was in 2018. Okay.
They wanted to tap high school and college students to post about Lazada and talk about their first beauty moment. So they asked a bunch of their agencies to help them out with this. And a lot of them actually charged very high. I guess because at that point, it wasn't really common practice yet for PR agencies. So they reached out to us and we said yes, and we actually did it. And I think that was the first time that Lazada, we were able to get kasi 350 micro and nano influencers from high school and college. So it was like, it started off first as a list of our friends with followers, and then it became friends of friends, and then it became strangers.
Can you define the micro and the nano? Ilang
okay.
followers ang micro, ilang followers ang nano para nagkakaintindihan tayo?
Yeah. So the nano influencers are usually 2,000 followers and above. Micro
Okay.
influencers are mga 10,000 to mga 50,000 or 100,000 followers. Yeah, so they're the smaller influencers. Yung parang
So what do
everyday.
you call na the big ones, yung mga milyones, yung mga heart evangelista? Macro. Any challenges that you encountered because you are women doing our job?
I think Tam and I, we were both lucky enough to be born in, this day and age where women can do whatever they want and be
Mm-mm.
whoever they want. Just to add to, instead of gender discrimination, I think what Tam and I experienced was more of age discrimination.
Age.
Yeah,
Okay.
when we started at a very young age.
There's a Tagalog term for that. May mga gatas pa kayo sa labi. Ibig sabihin, you're too young, di ba? Nagagatas. May mga gatas pa to sa
Yeah.
labi. Akala mo kung sino makapag ano ah. So, sige, so you were experiencing age discrimination. How is it? Tell us about that story.
A lot of times people wouldn't take us very seriously and they'd really question our capabilities, especially our experience. I remember Tam and I, before going to meetings, we'd bring nice clothes in our car and heels and really dressed up just to make ourselves look a bit older than we actually
Lipstick
are.
ng konti, di ba?
People,
Oh my
would
God.
trust us with all the events that they wanted us to plan.
Oo. Although ngayon, there's now a realization of that. In fact, napapasay na nga yung mga kaedad namin eh. When it comes especially to marketing, there's now a preference for, dapat yung bata kasi alam nila that you can talk the language of the majority of the population. Sobra ang average age yata, median age is something like 24. Do you girls believe in goal setting? And how do you go about it?
Yeah, I'm a super big believer in goal setting. And usually what I do is I start with a super big goal that I have in mind. No? So for example,
Audacious goal.
very
Yes.
audacious goal. Yeah, BHAG. And then after that, parang how I do to work up to that goal is I break it down. So whether it be by year or smaller goals. And then those smaller goals that I get that make up that big goal. That's where I create my action plans naman on how do I get there. Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, so very similar to Tam. I have like a dream lifestyle. Of course, there are things that I want to buy, vacations I want to take, like a life that I want to live, and I compute exactly how much I need to make to be able to get there. So 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, up until the time I retire, and then from that point, that's where I kind of break down how exactly am I going to get there, what investment decisions I need to make, what businesses I need to get into, do I need side hustles to up my income a bit.
Some of the people who become so driven in creating their own business, their own company, are those na medyo nahirapan while they were young. And that's the reason why I asked the two of you about your childhood money memory. And it seems like you were, I don't know if you can call yourselves born with a silver spoon, pero for sure, hindi kayo nahirapan. I mean, hindi kayo kailangang, naku, hindi ako makabayad ng tuition, kulang na sa pagkain, wala ng trabaho si nanay at tatay. Wala kayong ganong storya, which is one of the more common motivations to really strive hard. And you guys have been striving hard since you were in high school, no? So, what was your motivation? Bakit ang sipag-sipag niyong magtrabaho?
I think I actually get into a lot of discussions about this with other people, no? And a common thing that I found with a lot of successful, quote-unquote successful women is that a lot of us actually derive the motivation from a certain insecurity from childhood. And I'm the same. So I came from a place of a lot of like insecurity when I was young, mostly because I didn't have visible talent. So I couldn't sing, I couldn't dance, I couldn't act, I couldn't speak. So I went through my childhood feeling very like small. Parang feeling ko, no matter what room I enter, I'm not taking up space. And I think from that feeling in grade school, parang that's what pushed me in high school to really put myself out there, to think bigger of myself and for myself. So it propelled me into all these orgs, committees, projects. My high school calendar was so busy for a normal high school student. But eventually, that's what helped me find my niche and the things that I like to do.
Yeah. Okay, so this is how I understand your narration, no? It started from an insecurity when you were young.
Yes.
And hello to those who are insecure, no, ay, hindi ako marunong, hindi ako masyadong maganda, or ano man ako, ano yung pinag-iisipan nyo, no, to make yourself feel small and not taking a significant space under the sun. You can
Mm.
use that. You can harness that para
Yeah.
gamitin nyo as your motivation. And now, what you're motivated in is that you're finding it like a game. Para bang, okay, I'm going to rise up to the challenge today. Ganon.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, punta naman tayo kay Sam.
Even if we both of us grew up in a comfortable home, I feel like I don't count my mom's or my parents' money as my
True.
own. So
Mm.
but I feel like I'm still accountable to work hard and be able to create a nice future for myself. Um, and I guess like right now, at least on the day-to-day basis, I'm super motivated by the partners and the people that I work around with, like Tam, Reina, and so Robin. Every day, they work so hard that when you slack off, you feel shy. But yeah, parang I feel like I owe it also to them to work as hard as they do. And I think we actually very much motivate each other in achieving each other's goals also.
Oh,
Correct.
sige. So, ano ko rin yan, ano?
Yeah.
Encapsulate ko rin. So, you grew up, even if you're comfortable, para it was clear to you that my parents' money is their money. It's
Yeah.
not mine. So I
Yeah.
want the parents out there to think about that. Kasi nga, 'di ba sometimes masyado tayo nagsuspoil kasi sabihin natin, kaya naman wala naman nangyayari kahit 'di mo mababawasan yung malaki kong retirement fund or whatever. But you're doing it for your children. You have to make sure na alam nila ito pera ng nanay at tatay. Yung sa'yo, gumawa ka, kumayod ka. And then your motivation today is because you are surrounded by highly motivated people. Pero ano naman yung mga naging challenges nyo?
I think where the challenge really started to kick in was when we
Mm.
started charging for the services, because of course
Mm.
that adds a bit of pressure to
Yeah.
make the work that you do parang really worth their money. And I think there was even an added pressure because Tam and I, we were planning a lot of milestones in people's lives, like 18th birthdays, baptism parties. Now you feel the fear of messing up, will be messing up the person's milestones also. But I think that's what really pushed us to become excellent at events planning and what we did all along the way. I would say that the challenge really came in when we were growing, when we
Mm.
started working for big corporations, we had to adhere to long payment terms, like payment
Yeah.
terms. Yeah, starting 30
Ilang
days
days?
up to 180
6
days. So
months.
that's 6 months. And as young professionals, of course, we didn't have money yet, a lot of money yet of our own. And we didn't have
Oo.
enough capital to keep the business running. So we actually had to talk to our parents, pull in money. And that's the money
Ah.
that we used to grow Hatch into what it is today. And really just operating the business on the day-to-day basis.
So how
Yeah.
do you resolve conflicts as friends naman?
Thankfully, I think we have yet to experience any major conflict
Okay,
among
knock
the
on
five
wood
of us.
tayo.
Pero,
Knock on
yeah,
wood
nakunod,
ako.
nakunod. Pero we do have paranoid planning rin. So, with the help of some consultants and coaches, we actually came up with like team charters, ways of working among the C-suite, and it kind of acts as our guide on how we vote, how we make decisions, and who takes ownership of what. So I think that super helped it. But I think in
Mm.
general, we're lucky because among the five of us, we really established a good working relationship na. And I think it's because, well, number one, we can really compartmentalize being friends and being partners. So meaning to say, like,
Mm.
in the morning, I can be innocent Sam over something that she said. But at night, we're in
Ah.
wildfire na and we can drink na and have fun. And we've learned how to not take work so seriously.
Ah.
And also, I think one thing that has really helped is the fact that, we're childhood friends. Eh. So, medyo
Yes.
parang we understand each other's context. We understand each other's
Mm.
background. So, when a
Mm.
certain characteristic or trait or something comes up, parang we understand it to a different level and we see it as more than just the action that's being done.
Yeah.
That's
And
super helpful. And last is parang we also always have very honest conversations with each other about what we want to do, where we want to go. Like in 5 years, do we still want to be in Hatch? Do we still want to be doing
yeah.
this? And that has really helped us parang create a roadmap for the business that doesn't just live up to the business goals, but also helps the personal goals that we have among the five of us. So that it's been fun also trying to build around that. Yeah.
I noticed you said that you also hire coaches, no? I
Yes.
really observe that among young people now na
Mhm.
you guys are willing to put resources talaga for
Yes.
coaching because you acknowledge that you might be good at this, at running your
Correct.
business, but when it comes to other aspects of your business and even probably your personal life, you need the help of the experts, no?
Yeah.
So, i-flex ko lang that Hatch was our client at IFE when they did their FQ workshop for
Yeah.
all 64 employees. Tell us
Great.
about that experience.
I want to say, I personally availed of IFE services, like for my personal finances, and I really saw how much it helped me in terms of like goal setting and being able to optimize all my investments. And they brought up to me that they actually have company packages. So we were thinking, why not make it part of the benefits for the entire company, to help them also with their personal finances and planning for the future. So it was such a
Yeah.
great experience. It was actually our first ever physical workshop since the pandemic. And all our employees loved it so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, you lovely ladies. Ang galing-galing niyo. My hats off to you. We learned a lot. I did learn a lot and had fun talking to you. So to our viewers out there, if you need any of their services, just go to their social media channels. Magagaling po silang lahat.